What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back here with JinJag.com, and this isn't a video I necessarily wanted to make, but it's a video I feel like I needed to make to bring some justice to the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base. The Jaguars this offseason, quite frankly, are not getting much respect at all from the national media, and I can't really figure out why, although I do feel like I do know why. So let's discuss.
Last name ever, first name greatest, like a sprained ankle, boy, ain't nothing to play with.
Now in the offseason, you have all kinds of media outlets putting out all different kinds of articles. There's as many as they can covering all different kinds of subjects. You know, you have CBS Sports, you have ESPN, you have Bleacher Report, and you know, one big topic of conversation is teams that could go from like worst to first, and another one is teams that were in the playoffs that are most likely to not be in the playoffs. And amongst those groups, like whenever you talk about teams that were in the playoffs last year that are most likely to not make the playoffs, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I really think that there are two reasons for this. I think one is just because of our quarterback Blake Bortles. Obviously, the whole entire 2017 season, nobody in the national media believed in him. All offseason, they were trying to peg the Jaguars to sign a quarterback in free agency or draft a quarterback in the first round. But all along, if you're a Jaguar fan that actually follows the Jacksonville Jaguars team, you know that Tom Coughlin, Dave Caldwell, Doug Brown, all these people fully believe in Blake Bortles. And whenever I would see that kind of stuff, I just kind of laughed at it. And the second reason why, I just feel like the NFL just isn't used to the Jaguars being a good team. The Jaguars the last 10 years have been pretty terrible. Haven't made the playoffs since 2007. Had some of just the worst teams around the NFL, always drafting top 5, top 10. So just a lot of people aren't used to just the Jaguars being good. So it's a lot easier to peg a team like Jacksonville to regress than maybe a team like the Chiefs or something like that. Now, all these people are slotting the Jaguars to be like the most likely to regress, but when I look at the situation, I feel like the Jaguars' formula for winning is the least likely for regression. We had the two things that we did very, very well last season was the fact that we had a very, very good defense. If it wasn't the best defense in the league, it was a top 3 defense in the league. And we also had the #1 rushing attack. It's not like we're like the Detroit Lions of years past where, you know, you get by, you get into the playoffs with a 9-7, 10-6 record, but, you know, you get there with a solid defense, have a couple of good defensive linemen, and a quarterback that kind of slings the ball all over the place. We had the #1 rush attack. The offensive line only got better with the addition of an all-pro left guard, a left tackle who's no longer a rookie. He's going into his second year with Cam Robinson. Obviously, Fournette is going into his second year. And then our defense should only get better. The only player that we lost in the defense was the 11th player with, you know, the nickel cornerback and then the strong side linebacker. We have all these guys like, you know, the defense was some of the cornerstone pieces of the team were a bunch of second-year players. You know, you had guys like Yannick Ngakoue. He's going into his third year. He had double-digit sacks last season. He's turning into one of the best young pass rushing ends in the NFL. You have Myles Jack going into his third year and his second year as a starting linebacker. Jalen Ramsey, the best cornerback in the NFL, going into his third year. You have pieces all over the defense. I mean, our first-round pick, Taven Bryan, is going to be cycling in and out of the defensive line. You also have Calais Campbell in there. You know, he had like 13 or 14 sacks last season. He might be getting a little bit older, but, you know, he did that well last season. He's not going to all of a sudden just fall off the, you know, face of the earth next year. I mean, he's a hard worker. You got Tellman. You have all kinds. You also have an all-pro cornerback in A.J. Boye. You have all kinds of incredible talent on this team. And just the fact that all these people are putting us in this regressing category just, you know, baffles me. Now, last season, you look at the Jaguars and, you know, they start off kind of shaky going 3-3. Then they go all throughout the kind of, you know, season. All of a sudden they start winning a bunch of games in a row. They finish off the year 10-6 and, you know, go to the playoffs, go into the AFC Championship game. And really, all season, these analysts were saying, oh, the Jaguars are a pretty good team, but they got Blake Bortles. They're not going to go anywhere with Blake Bortles. But, you know, Blake Bortles wasn't the reason why we essentially lost that AFC Championship game. Obviously, there were different factors that led us to lose the game between, you know, definitely questionable calls by the refs. You know, the defense let up like a 3rd and 18. But I think the most important thing that happened that game was just the fact that the coaching staff just did not play aggressively. They played not to lose. They kept running the ball on 1st down in the 4th quarter when we weren't getting any yardage. We were playing like cover 4, almost prevent defense on the 4th quarter and stuff like that when we were so used to playing man and playing so well that way. But I just felt like all last year, you know, we had some respect when it comes to people respecting our defense and stuff like that, but they were acting like that Blake Bortles was going to hold us back and he was going to be the reason why we couldn't advance. And, you know, you just look at the Steelers game, you know, and the Steelers in the divisional game. Nobody was picking us to win that game. Even we whooped the Steelers, you know, in Heinz Field earlier that season, and then everybody expected the Jaguars to go into Heinz Field, and the Steelers were just going to ejaculate ketchup all over the Jaguars. But it turns out that the Steelers were the ones playing catch-up that whole game, as they never even had a damn lead. We went in there and whooped the Steelers' ass, man.
I was kind of wondering why they were so confident, because we stomped their ass last time.
Shad Khan, he's the owner, he purchased 2 new stadiums this year. He's the owner of Wembley Field, and now he's the owner of Heinz Field. We own the Steelers. They are our property. And, you know, just the fact that we were going into that game, no one gave us a chance after we beat them 30-9 earlier that year. And then, you know, we go into the AFC Championship game, and we showed that we belong. You know, we didn't win the game, but we weren't like the Titans, where we just did not look like we were a playoff team where we just got blown away. I mean, we had the lead most, you know, for most of that game, what, 75 to 80, 85% of that game. We were holding the lead, but the Jaguars, as the young team that they were just really led by a bunch of rookies and second-year players. I mean, you look at some of the impact guys that we had. You know, Fournette, he was a rookie. You had Cam Robinson, our left tackle. He was a rookie. Keelan Cole, undrafted rookie. D.D. Westbrook, rookie. And you also, you know, when it comes to second years guys, Yannick Ngakoue, Miles Jack, you had Jalen Ramsey. I mean, our team was super, super young, and we are built to win, and I'm so excited to see what the Jaguars can do next year. Now, when it comes to Blake Bortles, man, he had a very, very interesting year last year. He looked terrible in the preseason to the point where him and Chad Henne got into this little quarterback competition. But, you know, earlier in the year, he wasn't playing all that well, but you really saw him mature and just develop a lot of confidence as the season went on. You know, I think just that game against the home game against the Bengals was really like a turning point for him. But then, you know, you went into December, you know, when you look at December on, he's a guy who's known to throw in interceptions, but he only threw like he only had 2 games of interceptions in the last, you know, 6 or 7 games when you include the playoffs. So, you know, Blake Bortles, he was a guy that really developed a lot of confidence and stuff like that during the season. And one thing that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to something that potentially held back Blake Bortles was the fact that his receiver core was just injured as hell, man. I mean, obviously you had A-Rob get injured his very first catch. You had Marquise Lee, Allen Hurns in and out of injury. You had D.D. Westbrook, a guy who came back from the injured reserve list. You were throwing balls to people like Aurelius Ben, Larry Pinkert, Jadon Mickens, Max McCaffrey. He had so many different wide receivers in there, and that's not the kind of thing that you want with a quarterback. You want him to have chemistry with his wide receivers. He also didn't have any real pass-catching tight end in there. The only player that was really catching like touchdowns at the tight end position was Mercedes Lewis when he was schemed open through the play action. So while a lot of people don't have trust in Bortles, I have trust in Bortles, and if there's anything that 2017 proved to you is that you don't necessarily need an elite top 5 quarterback to win you a Super Bowl. I mean, you look at the divisional rounds. You had Blake Bortles beat Ben Roethlisberger. You had Case Keenum beat Drew Brees. You had Nick Foles beat Matt Ryan. all those quarterbacks that lost those games are potential Hall of Fame players or Hall of Fame locks for that matter. And the winner of the Super Bowl was a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. So 2017 was definitely a year of the team as opposed to a year of the quarterback. And to say the Jaguars aren't going to win a Super Bowl because of Blake Bortles, you know, when you keep in mind our number one like rushing offense, a potentially number one defense in the NFL, like we are so not prone to regression, and I'm just so excited to see what the Jaguars can do in 2018. So you guys keep on hating on the Jaguars. I'll see you in February.
We going to the Super Bowl, and we going to win that bitch. We going to win that bitch.
People aren't used to getting beat like that by the Jaguars. There's no reason to take anything from anybody. You know, we just beat the crap out of you for 60 minutes.